Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Hi,
Hi, I'm Nick,
I'm Mary.
and we are starting a brand new vlog because we want to talk about our hopefully 2 to 2.5 year financial journey to become free from student loans. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Basically, our plan is to release a new video every 1st and 15th of the month, and just talk about some of the challenges we're facing, some of the things that we're trying to do to make life or keep life interesting while we live on an extreme budget, and just maybe share some helpful tips and things that have helped us that might help you if you're following along yourself. We're doing this because we graduated in 2014. It is now 2020. Yeah, Happy New Year. And so we are really only basically 5 years removed from school. Um, this is going to be the sixth by the end of this upcoming semester. And so we're still saddled with student loan debt. We've been paying it. We've never missed a payment since we started, but it's just not going away nearly as quickly as we would like. And to be honest with you, we're kind of fed up with it. With that said, why don't you start and explain to them, the loving fans, about our schooling and yours in particular?
Yep, so we both went to Carthage College, which is a very expensive private college up in Kenosha, Wisconsin. We both loved our time there, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would say
we
so.
both had a great college experience, came away with a lot of close friends. And so it is hard to put a price on what we did at Carthage. However, I majored in studio art, um, and I also had minors in art history, communications, and public relations. And I'm not really using my degree. It was my intention to get those communications and public relations studies in so that I could use those for real world experience. I enjoyed studying what I did quite a bit. It allowed me to think in a way that I wasn't used to thinking in. And so I do value my education at Carthage, even studying studio art, but that kind of is always in the back of my head too. Was it worth all of this step that we're in now to do something that is essentially a hobby at this point?
As for myself, I graduated, as Mary said, from Carthage in 2014 as well. I'm a double major in computer science and business management. I somehow graduated cum laude. I don't know exactly how that happened. Not quite as good at grades as her, but my field, I know that my education was worthwhile because when I was interviewing for my current role, my boss actually said that he was very impressed with the education that I received and all of the skills that I'd acquired in my 4 years at Carthage. So let me put that debt into perspective for you guys.
Before we do that, we should also introduce our dogs because you're probably going to hear flapping ears, maybe a bark or two. They're probably going to run into the camera. We have two. We have Ginny, who's our Doberman. She likes to wear pajamas. And then we also have Nellie, who is our Walker Coonhound mix. Um, she'll probably be content on the couch, but just a fair warning that there might be some interruptions while we're talking.
All right, so to put that debt into perspective for you, Mary graduated with about $92,000 in student loan debt. Being that it was a 4 year private liberal arts school, Carthage was not cheap. And I think that that is a very good indicator of how not cheap it was. Mary took out some Stafford loans, which are government loans, as well as her father taking out a Parent Plus loan. And then Mary had one private loan of her own. When I graduated in 2014, I graduated with $86,000 in student loan debt. Mine were just a Stafford loan through the government and then also a Parent Plus loan. I had no other private loans. All of mine were government. That puts us at, I'm not a math expert, but like that's a lot of money. Um, it puts us at around $170,000 in student loan debt. That's a pretty decent house. We're located in Indianapolis, and that's a pretty decent sized house where we live. Basically, we had instantly had a mortgage. You know, the day we left college. So it's a 10-year payback period. So your monthly amount is going to be considerably higher than a mortgage of the same amount when you're only paying back in 10 years. So that gives you kind of an idea of what we're looking at in terms of, or what we had when we first graduated. In the last 5 years, we've now refinanced our loans a couple of times, and we've got no more Parent Plus loans. We don't have any of the higher interest rate Stafford loans. And so we're currently down to the Stafford loans that are they're just under 4% interest rate. And then we also have one private loan that is right around 5% for the remainder. And the total of those debts is right around $128,000. That's what we're looking at paying off. And once we get that down to zero, we're going to have a lot more money to be able to do things that we want to do. A couple of things that I'm excited about. We both have decided that we'd like to go on a really nice vacation once our student loans are covered. So after we're done with paying our student loans, Mary does not have the best of eyes, and she is going to be looking into some LASIK surgery to get 20/20 vision. Yes. For 2023 or so.
Yeah.
But
that's really exciting to me because that's something that I've been wanting for years and years and years. I do have almost the worst of eyes. That's definitely probably one of the first things I would like to do.
So to give you an idea of exactly how we've been making the payments we have and how we plan to attack this in the next 2.5 years, I think it makes a lot of sense to tell you about our jobs and a little bit more personal info in terms of our payments and our income.
I am a higher ed sales manager at Human Kinetics, which is a smallish publishing company. And I've been doing it for it'll be 5 years this summer.
Mm-hmm. I work for Gannett. I'm a web developer there. I've been with Gannett for 5.5 years now, and I love it. That is my full-time job. Web developers, thankfully, for the most part, have a lot of flexibility, and that's my favorite part of my job. I have a fantastic team that I work with, and I absolutely love it. It's actually what I would consider maybe my second dream job. If I had just one job, I'd say that'd be my second choice for a dream job. My first choice is my side job, which is a track coach. I coach at a local high school, and I love it. It ends up being, we say it's like kind of on the side, but it's really, a lot of times it's a second full-time job. It's really been a lot of fun. I've been doing that. This will be my 6th track season coming up. Right now, we just started with our new refinanced loan. That loan is currently sitting just about at $100,000. So our monthly amount for that is $956. So a pretty significant amount for that one loan. And then our 2 Stafford loans are right around $300 right now. So we're just shy of $1,600 a month. Now with the Stafford loans, we actually did pay ahead on those. Some of the Stafford loans actually had some higher interest rates when we were in school. They've since been regulated by the government to come back down. But we were lucky enough to get to pay the higher interest rates. We've paid those off just to be able to save a little bit of money on that higher interest. And so now we're down to about $14,000 on each of those. But we are still continuing our payments on those. So the $300 that I mentioned, we still do pay that even though we don't actually have to currently. I also want to share our household income, not because I don't want anybody to be discouraged if you happen to make less than we do, even if it's by a significant amount or just a little bit. I don't want you to feel like if you're wanting to tackle your debt, I don't want you to feel like you won't be able to do it because you don't make what we make. I'm sure there are plenty of people that could be watching this that make more or the same or more, which is awesome. And so that kind of should validate you that you can definitely do this.
Yeah, and it does make things a lot easier that we are married and we share our incomes, because it would be maybe harder for me to pay my loans by myself since my salary's lower and he took on more debt.
Mm-hmm. So, but if you are single and you happen to be watching this, that doesn't mean that you can't do this by any means. It just means that maybe you have to be the person, like there's nobody really holding you accountable, so it's just you. Our current annual household income is right around $135,000, and that's before taxes. So we've got basically $128,000 in debt, and we make $135,000 before taxes. So our goal is to try to pay this off in 2.5 years. And in our next video, I'll tell you exactly how I came up with that 2.5 years as our goal. But for now, just keep in mind that that is our goal, is 2.5 years. And so I'll show you in the next video. If you're interested in tackling your debts, then you can try to use this same method that I've used, and I'll walk you through that. Happy 2020.
Yay.
So with it being a new year and this whole new thing, this new lifestyle we're going to be living, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about some of our excitements, but also some of our fears as we move into this new. It's not exactly a new lifestyle, but a more extreme lifestyle of what we kind of already do. Why don't you start with one of your fears?
Sure. We are living pretty frugally right now, but like he said, it is going to be, we're going to be paying these back a lot more aggressively than we have been. And so we're not the type, we're kind of homebodies for the most part, and we don't do a whole lot in terms of entertainment, but dropping back what we're paying that aren't just necessary expenses makes me worried about becoming bored or having cabin fever, just needing to get out of the house and feel like we need to do something and being limited in terms of what we can do. So that's maybe a challenge that we'll have to figure out creative ways to have fun without spending a lot of money.
Anything else?
Yeah, I also don't like to miss out on, but spending time with family and friends is really important to me. I really value the quality time that I get to spend with both of those groups of people. And so having to say no because we aren't wanting to spend extra money could definitely be difficult. And I see that happening for sure. So we have been trying to have conversations with our family and friends, letting them know that this is our plan so that they know in advance that we might not always get to do things that they invite us to come do, and that they shouldn't be offended. It's just, this is something that's really important to us right now, and we're doing this so that in the future we can have a lot more flexibility and a lot more freedom to do those things that we want to do.
Yeah, I love spending time with family and friends, and that will be something that is going to be difficult, but if we can aggressively pay these loans off in as quick a timetable as we're planning currently, it's at least not an eternity to go. So there is hopefully a light at the end of the tunnel. I would say my biggest fear is a pretty common fear in just about everything. And that's a fear of failure. Not just the fear of failure because we did something wrong, but just something that's beyond our control. You know, the publishing industry is not in fantastic shape. And I'm currently in the media newspaper industry, which is also not really in the best of shape. And so if something were to happen to one of our jobs, that would obviously put a big wrench in this plan, but also just health issues. We're only in our 20s still.
Late 20s.
Yeah, late 20s. We're still in our 20s. A health scare can happen to anybody, and anybody can be hospitalized at any time. And so obviously our health is very important to keeping this dream alive in 2.5 years. So if something were to happen, we also realize that it's not that we did anything wrong necessarily if we lost a job or were hospitalized, and obviously we would adjust our expectations accordingly, but it sure would be nice to be able to hit this 2.5 year timeline. Yeah. So it's something I'm a little bit worried about, but I also just understand that we're going to do everything that we can in our power, and that God has a plan. So yeah, we just kind of let that one go, and we just do our thing. I don't know if you're excited about this, but I'll just say that I'm excited for the challenge. I thrive on challenges. I'm a pretty competitive person. I think
that's an understatement.
It might be an understatement. And so I'm excited for the challenge, and trying to find ways to be creative in how we spend our money and how we live over the next 2.5 years. And so that's something that I'm really looking forward to. Even though we might not be paid off in the next by the end of the year, I'm really excited because I think that even just moving from the beginning of 2020 to December 31st, 2020, we're going to feel a big burden starting to lift off our shoulders. And so I'm really excited to that feeling. Even if it's not the true feeling of financial freedom, it is at least a huge step in the right direction.
I mentioned to him earlier that I'm more excited about the end goal and finishing this. But if I am looking for one thing I'm excited for at the end of the year, it's just that we are going to accomplish a lot. Um,
Hi, dog.
Come on.
Down.
We are going to accomplish a lot by the end of the year. And so just seeing that chunk of change be gone, and that we know that we worked hard to be able to pay this certain amount towards our debt and towards our end goal, is definitely going to feel good. So that's all that we have to say for now. We appreciate you watching, and if you have maybe any tips or tricks or questions on your own about things that you might want us to cover, feel free to let us know. And otherwise, we'll see you next time.
See you in a couple weeks.
Bye.
Bye.